So my passion and what I love doing more than anything is working with business owners, CEOs, whoever the leaders are, and working with them on how to grow, how to get the revenue going. And it's sort of like a jigsaw puzzle.
Hello and welcome to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie, aka your business bestie. I teach female coaches, speakers, and course creators to release procrastination and perfection so that they can get more done, book more clients, and have the time freedom that all entrepreneurs crave. This is not your typical business coaching podcast. We're talking about business, life, probably some wooey magic, and probably some singing or referencing song lyrics along the way. So if you're into business building, making more money, and getting a little bit of a mindset shift along with having a good laugh, you're definitely in the right place. I've grown 3 businesses from $0 to consistent 4 and 5 figure months over the last 15 plus years. And now I'm helping you do the same thing. It didn't happen overnight, and it certainly didn't happen without the help of others. They say it takes a village to raise children, and I believe it takes a village to grow a business as well. So in this podcast, you'll find people who help you grow your village, cheer you on, as well as holding you accountable. I'm so excited you're here, and I can't wait for you to listen to each episode. Let's dive in. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Chaos to Clarity podcast. My name is Maggie, and today I have Becky Amble on with me, and I am so excited. I connected with her in a different group, and we have just been having so much fun learning all kinds of things, and I've loved getting to know her, and I'm super excited to have her here on the podcast and get to know her a little bit better. So, Becky, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us who you serve?
Thank you. It's great to be here with you, Maggie, and I love your energy and I love that you're doing this. It's just fabulous. Anyway, what I do is I work with businesses. I've got 2 segments. I've got the small business clients that are 5 million or less and in the B2B space, and they are companies that I work with in my Facebook group. And then the companies that are bigger in that 25, 50 million, and then up to 100 or 500 million, work with them directly one-on-one through my consulting firm that I'm part of. It's called the Platinum Group. And then the Facebook is all my future focus stuff that I've been doing for like 30 plus years. So my passion and what I love doing more than anything is working with business owners, CEOs, whoever the leaders are, and working with them on how to grow, how to get the revenue going. And it's sort of like a jigsaw puzzle where you got to find out what's going on, what's working, what's not working, what's going on with the customers, what's going on with the competition, get all that scoped out. And then you start putting together the plan. And I think that's the most fun part is once you have your homework done, then you can say, all right, what are we going to do to grow? How much are we going to grow? What's going to be done? Who's doing it? When's it going to happen? And that's just like playing for me.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. And I can just hear the excitement. I can see the excitement on your face, right? Like just that energy of like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm excited. I can't wait to get all this done. I think that's so cool. And I also love that you've been in business. You've been working in this space for 30 years. Is that how long?
Yeah, actually, probably longer than that if we did the math.
That is awesome. And I think, like as people like jump into business, sometimes it can be overwhelming to, like meet people like, oh gosh, you've been in this for 30 years, right? Like myself, I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years, and that just seems like a lifetime for me. And I know when I've met other people, and they're just starting out, they're like, wow, how did you get to be where you are today? And I've told them the same thing every time. One step at a time, take it day by day, right? Like if you need help, get help, right? Like that is one of the most important things I think in business is that like if you feel like you're struggling, reach out for help. There's so many people that are out there willing to help.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So my next question for you is, what is something challenging that you have overcome in business throughout the years?
Well, I suppose for any of us that are consulting, contract, self-employed, any of that, I think one of the challenging things is getting the client. And back in the days when I first started, I had started a finance company and I was everywhere. My first year in the finance business, and that was a startup, and nobody knew about it in our whole region, let alone state and city. So it was creating a whole new industry. And I knew that in the finance business that I did, that people went to banks first. So it's great that we have people trained when they need money, they go to the bank. And we did deals that the banks couldn't do. So I personally called on 350 commercial lenders my first year in business. And I still look back at that number and go, I don't even know how I did that. But I did. And I was at chamber meetings. I was meeting with accountants and I was meeting with attorneys and, of course, making all the sales calls.
Right.
So that got me a lot of exposure, and I was there on my mission to accomplish my goals and get that startup going and achieve my financial goals for the company. Well, the thing that was nice there is I didn't have to worry about the money.
Okay.
Then if you're
Yeah.
self-employed, consulting, contracting, then you got to worry about the money. So you got to think about, where are you investing your time? Where are you investing if you have memberships? And are you going to coffee? Are you going to lunch? You sit there and you think about all the things that you're spending money on and what's your return. So when I first launched my consulting, because I'd been everywhere starting the finance company, I had people calling me. It was awesome. And I was doing seminars and I was speaking with companies. Then I took a break. And so now I'm in that rebuilding mode. So I'm more going to get back out there. A lot of the people that I used to know retired, moved on. They're not even around. So it's that building and just having the focus to make sure you're sticking on to your plan and that you've got, I guess, maybe some of the patience and the persistence to keep doing what you know you have to do, even if you don't get immediate results, because it is a building process.
Right. Yeah, I definitely can agree with that sometimes the building process is where it feels slow and it feels like it's not moving, even when you're doing all the actions, right? To be able to stop and take a breath and just recenter yourself and be like, you know what? I am taking action. I am moving forward. And even if right now in this very second, I'm not where I want to be, I know that by continuing to have that persistence and continuing to do those actions, I'm going to move forward and I'm going to get to where I want to be.
Yeah, and that's such a great point, because I'm one that, probably you're in the same boat. We're a little bit impatient, or maybe a little bit driven, or a little bit bottom line, and we're looking at all this going, yeah, I need it to happen faster.
Right.
And one thing that I shared with my Facebook group this week was that we need to also celebrate those small steps, those small wins. And I'm not really good at that, because I'm always thinking about, okay, what's my objective? What do I need to have done? Okay, got it done. What's the next thing?
Yeah.
And I think your point is really, really good, that we need to think about the steps that we're taking, that we're on the right path. Granted, you want to have a plan that you're following. And if you don't have a plan, then you probably need to put one together. And then just believe you've got the right pieces there. And if you don't have the right pieces, then you better be able to say, okay, let me take a look. Do I need to adjust?
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes understanding that you need to adjust, right? Like having the plan, thinking it's gold, and then realizing that, oh, maybe this isn't working how I wanted it to. This isn't doing what I wanted it to do. I know I've had that happen to me, where I've been like, yeah, this is gold. This is it. I'm driven. I'm there. I'm doing the things, and I'm not getting the results that I want, or I'm not getting them fast enough, right? So then, being able to connect with someone and say, okay, I've been doing all this, but I'm not getting this result that I want, right? Like calling in those consultants, those coaches, those people who are like, can take that big 30,000 foot look and go, okay, you're doing that, but have you tried this? Have you tried that? Right? And helping you to see a little bit bigger of a picture than what you've already painted, right? You're so focused on that thing that you kind of forget what's out here. And once you start kind of looking, right, then more opportunities start to show up, and, people start calling because you've shifted this thing or you've done that, right?
Absolutely. And, the other thing I think sometimes people do is, like, I've got the brain trust that I've mentioned before, and that's people that I talk to that have a similar background that I can brainstorm with. I mean, you would be in that where we could talk shop, and we could
Right.
actually have a conversation that we understood each other and were
Right.
helpful. Well, and the other thing is, one of the people in my group, my brain test, he's like, well, how about this? Well, what about the ROI? I'm like, and this is about my journal. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, it's a journal, for God's sakes. Who cares what the ROI is? And and yet he did give me one idea that was a really good idea, or that came about in our conversation. And then there's other things that people will come up, and I go, I'm sticking to my plan. I'm staying focused on what I need to do. So
Right.
there's have the plan, have a good plan, stay focused. If it's not working, adjust. And I think maybe what happens more to people is they get off the plan.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't
I
know.
know.
I haven't researched it.
I know I can speak to that because I definitely tend to have shiny object syndrome, right? Where I'm like, ooh, okay, I've got this plan. It's cool, blah, blah, blah. I'm excited. And I start going. And then all of a sudden there's this shiny thing over here, right? That's like, ooh, this could help, right? And I'm like, ooh, what's that? And I forget where I'm going, right? So,
Yeah.
like having those people in your corner where they're similar to you, where they're like, no, I'm sticking to my plan. Okay, that's great that these things are there. And if I need them, I know they're there, but like focus, right? Focus on the plan and focus on where you're going. And if you start seeing that you're not getting the things you want in return, then let's start looking at those other shiny objects. So I know that's definitely
Right.
helped me, where it is helpful to have someone who you can get on Zoom or get on the phone and have a conversation with and talk shop, right? And bounce ideas off of each other in a way that is productive, and you both kind of come out of that going, okay, good. I know what I'm doing and I feel solid in moving forward.
Yeah, it's really hard to work in isolation. So I think that's a great point, because we do really need to be able to have a sounding board. And,
Mm-hmm.
if we talk to ourselves and we're just in our head, that might not be the greatest sounding board.
Right. Right. Yes. Yeah, for sure. So moving on to my next question, this really segues well into this. What is one piece of advice that you would tell your younger self? So over the years that you've been an entrepreneur, what is something that you would tell your younger self?
Well, that has come up on questions before on something like LinkedIn or Facebook. And so I think what I would say is believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not unique to me, but a lot of times I think we start thinking that we don't have the skills or the expertise, or that we're not good enough or something. And although the businesses I've worked with, they've all grown. We've
Mm-hmm.
had successful engagements. They've grown, when I've turned around companies, all that kind of stuff. And you kind of need to almost sit back and go, I do know stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's me. Maybe it happens to other people as well. But that is one of the things that I think I would have really said to myself, is just believe in me, because there's probably a lot of things I could have done that maybe I just didn't have the confidence, or didn't think I had the skill set or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I can totally resonate with that. I a former yoga teacher of mine always said, there's always going to be a yoga teacher that's better than you. There's always going to be a yoga teacher that's worse than you. And, when you are teaching students, right? Like you're going to teach who is attracted to you, and like the belief in yourself, like that's what keeps people coming back to you, whether you're yoga teacher, photographer, coach, consultant, whatever it is, your belief in you, right? Like that opens your energy up in a way that other people are like, oh yeah, I really like what she said the other day, and I think I need her help, right? Like that is part of that like attraction to others to help grow your business, and then ultimately help you grow other people's businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe part of it is knowing ourselves and being true to ourselves. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's and like this year I decided one of my themes was positivity, and I thought, I'm gonna what's in my plan, and I've got all these things relating to building awareness and all that, and I thought, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna be positive about it, and just get out of my way, because I'm sticking with it.
Right. Right. Yeah. And, like I said before, sometimes it's hard to stick with a plan if you're not sure what the outcome is going to be, right? Like a lot of people are results based and like, what's the ROI? What's the ROI on having positivity all year, right? Like not every day can be positive, but I can guarantee you there's one positive thing that happens every day, right? Like not every day is going to be positive, but there is one thing that happens every single day. I promise that, right? Like I know that. So, I think that is also important to remember as an entrepreneur. Like, yeah, there's going to be hard days. There's going to be hard decisions. There's going to be stuff that is really crappy and right, like that nobody wants to deal with. But like, if you move through that stuff and just deal with it, that then allows you to move on to the next thing and not like have that looming over yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Because nobody wants to talk to Debbie Downer.
No. No. When I worked in corporate, and then when I left, I was definitely very happy to not have to deal with the people that were just angry all of the time.
Yeah.
And like, yes, definitely a weight lifted when that happened. So, all right. So my last question, probably my favorite question because it's kind of an off the wall question. If you were a kitchen utensil or gadget, what would you be and why?
Well, that's really a strange question. And I was going to say a potato masher because I smash things up, but that sounds so destructive. And a beater isn't quite right, but I do stir things up. So let me see. I'm not even sure what the heck I would be because maybe I'm a water faucet because I want to get all the information and do the research and do the digging. And then it's like turning the water on when you put together the plan and you start getting the revenue to flow in the business.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
That's not but that's not a utensil. Okay, I cheated.
What's a gadget? It's something you use in the kitchen, right? You don't have a kitchen if you don't have a faucet or some form of water.
Yeah. I can't really think of anything.
That's awesome.
I don't know. What's yours?
What's mine? So I would call myself a like an Instapot or a Ninja Foodie, right? Like because I am capable of doing so many things and I tend to do them quickly and I have a lot of ideas. I'm able to implement things and just like do all this stuff and like produce this thing for you.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Madam Maggie Instapot.
Yes. Oh, that's too funny. Too funny. All right. So Becky, tell everyone where they can connect with you. I will put all the information in the show notes, but for anyone who's listening, who has a pen and paper and wants to connect with you right now, how and where is the best way to connect with you?
Well, I think I'm the only Becky Amble on LinkedIn. Okay. And I believe my address is LinkedIn, Becky Amble, BECKYAMBLE. Okay. Otherwise, probably the better email, since I'm having issues with Gmail, would be becky.amble@theplatinum, and then it's GRP as shortened for group. Yep. So theplatinumgrp.com.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I'm so excited and I can't wait for everyone to listen and take in all the information that you just gave us.
Well, congratulations on your venture into podcast land. And yeah. I'm just very proud of you and very impressed. I think it's going to be a smashing success for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow. What a great interview. Thank you so much for showing up here on the Chaos to Clarity podcast. Again, my name is Maggie. I'm so excited to connect with you. You can find all of the information, all of the links below in the show notes for today's interview. And I hope you have the best day ever.